Got it. Yeah, I think we are all set to go live. Got it.
So who is going first, Phil or Tim?
Phil.
Sure.
Yes. So yeah, he is here. So both are here. So we are live, like we are. So on the profile thing, you can see there is pane profile and hide cell view from the window. I think you can see there is
Hey Phil. Hey Tim.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Is that beard longer than what we saw when we met?
Which beard are you referring to? His or mine?
We've never met, so he's referring to yours.
Well, oh, you've never met? Yes. God, that was 2 years ago now.
2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, the beard's definitely longer. Yeah. Although it has been longer. It was a big bushy like Brian's, but I then decided to shave it back because it was upsetting him too much.
Cool.
Is Tim going first? What's the schedule?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
Good. What are you talking on, Tim?
Managing expectations.
Oh, how are you going to manage my expectations about you managing expectations?
You'll have to manage them. Yes.
Have you found Joomla 4?
I haven't done too much with it. No, I found it good. I was on there helping someone start a site. Yeah, I was in the back end, and I know in my head the words to find things, so it's just new muscle memory and stuff like that for where things are at. I know that sometimes when things change, people get grumpy and growly trying to find things, and I know there's other issues about accessibility and this and that and UX and all that stuff, but it's like, okay, well, let's see. That settings and global configuration. How do I find that? Oh, okay. There's menus on the side here. Okay, I'll just go through here. So
yeah, I love it because I've been testing it for a long time on the CMS release team, and testing it's one thing, but actually using it. So I've built 3 sites now using it and converted about 4 client sites.
Yeah.
All simple ones because third-party extensions haven't all been changed, but I'm really liking it.
No, I like it too. It's nice and fast. It is
fast. Yeah, it's really fast. The accessibility is brilliant. We had a good talk at Joomla London last night on accessibility by Christiana, who put a lot of the effort into the template. And we are featuring some of the 4.1 features. Really exciting new feature that is coming. So
yeah, the scheduling, right?
Scheduling, yes, which we've been waiting a long time for. So that puts the API and the workflows on steroids.
Yeah. Well, and as I'm going to say it in my session, I kind of did a quick add up. For Joomla 3, there were 78 different versions.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
78.
Right from 3.0 to 3.10. It's around 78. I might be off a bit, but that's a lot. And by the end, I mean, it's 3 is just humming along. It's great, and 4 is going to be the same thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it will be, and I think it takes the 0.1 to get it all stabilized and all the issues ironed out, but there aren't that many issues. Bearing in mind about the cold face of the issues with the release team and everything. And I've actually sat through every single release in the 4 series or the 3 series. I've been in the room with the guys that are pushing the last few buttons just in case.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And it's not too bad.
How is the atmosphere like when they do that?
How's
the atmosphere around when they press the last few buttons? Does it feel like you hear me? Does it feel like Houston?
Does it feel like I see what you mean. Oh, the day that Joomla 4 released, that was awful. There were so many things wrong that day. It really, really was. The swans paddling like furious. It looked okay on the top, I think. We got away with it, but below the ground, just everything went wrong. Just silly things that you couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
And then George had to go to work. So we've been talking about what happens if George gets run over by a bus. Could we cope? Well, in the end, he didn't release 4. After all that time, he didn't release it. Actually, Harold did it. So Harold had to step in, and a few of us had to step in. And at one moment, it was actually down to me because of fallout and stuff. It was like, which way do we go with this? And there was a gamble as to whether something would work or not. And I said, no, we push the button. It's a birth. It's going to be painful. It's going to be messy, but it's no good pushing it back in again. So we go for it. And luckily, 2 hours later, everything went right. But it would have been, it's Phil's fault rather than George's fault because George wasn't there. But yeah, it was interesting. There's about 6 people in the room all the time. You got to understand, Tobias didn't sleep that night. So he was working for 36 hours on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
That's a huge marathon.
And then he had a couple of hours nap and then came onto the Joomla London thing that evening. So, because we started the release at 6 o'clock the night before. Testing.
Wow. Amazing. I mean, hats off to you guys.
It's there's a lot goes on behind the scenes that there's a lot of people that put a lot of time in that you don't get to, that never get any thanks for it, which is impressive.
Yeah. Really impressive. Right. So I think about time.
All right. You throw me in there. Is there an introduction?
I will. Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to be sure that what are you guys seeing? You guys seeing the presentation or seeing my video?
I'm seeing the presentation down the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's the 4 of our pictures, then mine, then the 4 of our pictures, then Tim. So you've got the other way around.
Oh, I think what's really important is what is going to the stream.
I see your screen share.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, that's good. All right. So thanks a lot, everybody, for joining. This is the second event in the Joomla NXT series of events. The first one we did around the launch time of Joomla 4. Again, I think we had a great event, a lot of good speakers. And now, we thought, why not do this more often? Why not do this like maybe a month, once in a month or so? So here we are, the next version of Joomla NXT. And this time around, we have 2 more great speakers. We have Tim and Phil. Tim is going first. sorry. Yeah, Tim is going first, and I'll probably take a minute to quickly introduce Tim. So Tim, Tim, aka Cybersalt. So he's the founder of the Cybersalt Joomla tutorials YouTube channel. He's been around Joomla for quite some time now, and I think the interest and the love for Joomla kind of pushed him to launch this channel where he has a lot of cool tutorial videos about a lot of topics of Joomla. And today Tim is going to talk about another great topic, expectation management. Is that right, Tim?
That's right.
Yeah. So Tim is going to talk to us about expectation management. And cool. Thanks everybody. So over to you, Tim. I'm just going to make you. I'm just going to make you the co-host so you can share your screen.
Okay.
There you go.
I actually don't have anything to share. You're just going to be stuck looking at my face.
We're completely fine with that. Happy.
All right. And so I'm on. Everybody can see me. Is that right?
Pushpin, I think you might want to stop your screen sharing.
Yeah. We don't see your video though, Tim. You might want to start sharing your video and then I can stop sharing my screen.
Oh, look at that. I thought that was on already. What a noob.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Hello, everyone. Hey there, Joomla fans. Tim Davis here. I'm a Joomla fan too. You know, that's how I start all my videos on my channel. So thanks to Techjoomla for the invitation to speak today. I'm not sure why I'm going first because Phil is in the UK where it's daytime. And here it is 5:30 in the morning. So I could have used that extra half hour probably to wake up. But we're all here and it's good. And so again, thanks for the invite. A little bit more about myself. I live in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. That's Victoria's on the southern tip of Vancouver Island, right on the left coast of Canada. And it is a beautiful place. I've lived here coming up on 25 years since we moved here. I am married to Susan. We just celebrated our 35th wedding anniversary. We have 3 kids. Each of them are married, and between them all, we have 5 grandchildren. So, yeah, we're that's just a bit more about me. I've been involved. I've used Joomla before. There was a Joomla back in. I became a refugee from Dreamweaver when I discovered Mambo, just playing around with some quick installs on a web hosting account that I had back in, I guess it's 16 years ago, right? So more than 16 years ago. And it never looked back for as far as making web pages because I was, I'm not a coder. I don't get a thrill from coding either. I'd like to get my content up and keep going. That's what I needed to be doing. And so just discovering the template system, it kept me from making all my sites square and boxy like with Dreamweaver. So then over the years, the Joomla it came along after Mambo, after the fork happened, and then there's 1.5 and 1.7 and then 2.5 and then 3 came out. And probably in the last 5 years, I've been full-time in my business doing web things and other consulting things. I realized that I've done a lot of taking over the years from the Joomla project. I benefited quite a bit. And so I started getting more involved in trying to give back what I can. So like I said, I'm not a coder, but what I found when I was trying to find solutions for issues with things that I was struggling with my sites or need to fix, as we all do from time to time, I would read fixes for issues in forums, or I'd be reading documentation that developers had made. And it was in a language and sort of like a genre that I just did not understand, that was just new to me. And so it would sometimes take me a couple of hours to figure out, because there'd be a reference to some point that that I could tell was very key, but I had no idea what they were talking about. And so once I figured it out, I thought, oh, I can probably can probably demonstrate how to do that in a few minutes now that I've got my head around it. So that's when I started making tutorials just to quickly put up on a YouTube channel. And so I'm a dumb guy that makes tutorials for other people that are in the same situation as me. And so that over the years has grown and really added to my enjoyment of Joomla, and also opened up some doors, I guess, along the way to let me meet Joomla people. So and become a much more active part of the community. So today, as it was said, I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about managing expectations in Joomla, because I think that that's a really important topic for us as Joomla 4 is out. It's an important topic for just Joomla generally, and I think it's an important topic for life as well, because I want to be happy. The things that I am doing in life, I want to enjoy them. I want them to be something that is a pleasant experience for me, an asset to my life, not something that's a source of drain or pain. And I have found that part of getting the most out of things in my life is managing my expectations. So one of my favorite stories about expectations is also a story about optimism. Is a story about a child, a little boy who is so positive in everything in life. His parents noticed this, and it bothered his dad. So his dad decided, look, this kid needs to learn how to deal with disappointment. And so decided one Christmas morning that for a present, he was going to he just wrap up some dog poop and put it underneath the Christmas tree for his son. And sure enough, Christmas morning came, the kid comes running down the stairs from his bedroom. He's there, he starts opening presents. He opens up this box full of dog poop, and then just gets totally excited and running around and starts looking at all of his other presents. And his dad says to him, he says, "What is up with you?" He says, why are you so excited? That's just a box of dog poop. And the boy says to his dad, he says, I know, there's got to be a puppy somewhere. Now, that's probably not a good example of excellent parenting. And I'm sure that if that were a true story, that kid would end up in counseling with parents like that. But the thing that I really like about that story is that it really speaks to the fact that there are some people that are just super positive, and there are other people that are not super positive. That if they were to open a box of dog poop on Christmas morning, they would not be surprised, because they just sort of expect bad things to happen. And a lot of that comes down to what we expect is going to happen in life, and what we expect the meaning or the things that are happening in our life means for our life. So there's really three areas I'm going to talk about today about managing expectations for Joomla. And that's one is just the Joomla project overall, managing our expectations for Joomla 4, where we're at right now at the beginning, and then also helping our clients for manage the expectations for their sites, or the changes in the work is going to come along. And I realize that some of you watching this maybe are just watching because you have a Joomla site and that's something you'd like to work on for yourself. But I think that if you know how to work on a Joomla site, then you have some skills that you could start to help some other people. And you never know, you might reach the point where you make a little money on the side or enjoy from that. So hang in for that last bit, even if you don't have clients. So managing expectations overall in the Joomla project, it's easy to see what the expectations are for something by paying attention to the disappointment that comes out in the midst of it. And we're very familiar with the disappointments that are regular and routine in the Joomla project. There's a disappointment that more people don't do testing. And so that reflects that there's an expectation that everybody should do testing. There's a disappointment that some people are negative or have have an impact on our community in a very non-positive way. There's disappointment with that. And so we see in that there's expectation that everybody should be able to be happy and kind and loving to each other. There's also the expectation that people who come along with good ideas after something's being released, or there's a disappointment that when people who come along with good ideas after a release has been made and they haven't tested, that, well, yeah, sure, they have good ideas, but really they didn't test, so why, just and get dismissed. And that shows this again, that expectation that if you're going to contribute something, you have to do the heavy lifting of testing. And now, of course, we are in debt to the people who test and who know how to do that and who are passionate about it. But those are just some of the expectations that we have in the Joomla project. And I think that those are lofty things to want, and they are absolutely necessary. So I'm not, please don't make the mistake of thinking, if you think I'm saying, oh, he's just telling everyone that you don't have to test. But I think it really speaks to the point of the difference between a desire and an expectation. Because we can desire things and realize that maybe those things aren't going to happen. But when we expect them, they become musts. And then when they don't happen, they really throw us off. So one of the things that I have noticed, and I've just started trying to build a team. I'm not very good at it. All right. I'm very good at doing solo stuff. But as work grows for me and my business, I thought, okay, I need help. I need to start building a team. So I need to grow those skills to do that, because probably some of that team is watching. But I started noticing, and I've noticed for years, that people who have businesses are constantly moaning and complaining that good help is hard to find, or that someone that they gave a project to or some responsibility to drop the ball, and why don't they do this, or why aren't they smarter, and just grumbling and just generally being unhappy. And I've seen it enough that I have realized that the desire to have good help is great, but the expectation that you will always find it or always have it is unrealistic. And the reason that I want to make that, the reason that I make that differentiation in my life is that as I start to build a team, or as I start to try to figure out how to grow my business so that it's not just me, I realize that that's just always going to be a struggle. That's just always going to be something that I need to learn to deal with. And also that's just the reality when people are working job. And probably I'm quite sure when I have done things for other people that they wondered why I didn't think of everything. I mean, that's why they were the boss. That's why they owned the business, right? So what I've decided is that I don't want to have my own business and be grumpy all the time. So I've just I realized I need to manage my expectations and change them. So instead of expecting that everything will be easy and that every single person puts a hand to anything in my business is just going to be stellar, my expectation now is that there's just going to be more work. And realistically, there's not a business anywhere in the world that just hums along without some hiccups along the way. And so I think that we can, apply that same principle to the Joomla project. It's always going to be rough spots. Probably getting people to test things is always going to be a struggle, or it always would be nice to have more things to happen. It's just going to be normal that that the people who put a lot of work into things are maybe going to miss something, and someone's going to come along with a great idea all of a sudden and think, hey, why didn't you do this? And instead of us just living in a perpetual state of unhappiness in Joomla, then we can just manage our expectations and realize, okay, that's just how it is. I'm not saying that we have to like it all the time, but we don't have to be living in a constant state of angst and being upset because of how things are. I have a relative who is only happy they're only happy if they're unhappy about something. So they really never are happy. And so when Joomla 4 was released this summer in the middle of August, and it was released on a date when I had a lot of family coming and I had vacation planned, and I know that for a lot of the developers, a lot of people working were thinking, oh, why the middle of the summer and why this time? And I was thinking like, oh, I would love to just spend a couple of weeks slamming out videos just initially right at the beginning. I realized, well, okay, so I've got vacation planned. I'll just have to wait a couple of weeks before I start doing things. But after waiting so long for Joomla 4 to be released and talking so much about it, I decided I'm just going to be happy that it's out. Even though it doesn't work well even though that particular timing didn't work well for me, I thought, man, it's finally here. This is exciting. It's going to be new. It's going to be what's going to come from it. How's it going to change my life? All of these great things. So why would I just be angry about it? Or why would I dwell in frustration about it? Just that's, and when it's like, oh, my expectation is, what are my expectations? Because ultimately, even though we are so passionate and love Joomla, Joomla is just a part of life. It's not life itself, and so it should. We need to manage our expectations so that it can be something positive, and we enjoy the most of it along the way. And so that brings me to managing our expectations for Joomla 4. So I know I've seen some comments on Facebook and in different discussions where, I saw one comment where someone says, oh, well, there's still so many extensions to come out for Joomla 4. And if a developer doesn't have them ready by now, I think they're probably not a good developer. And I was like, well, okay, that's one perspective. There's been comments about why things aren't, extensions aren't ready to come out. And that, I think part of the realistic thing that we need, expectations that we have to have about Joomla 4 right at this point in time that we're at, is that a lot is just the very nature of much of the development that takes place in Joomla. And that is there are some solo developers who don't have large teams, maybe even for the very reason that I've talked about earlier. And lots of extensions, and it's going to take them a while to switch over. There are some companies that have some pretty large things underway that it's going to take a while for them to test and get everything going. I was talking a message with Ramesh from J2 Store, and I said, hey, because I have a client that needs a shopping cart, and I was like, well, I don't want to build him a site in Joomla 3 and then later on in a week say, hey, I need to now you need to learn a new system because here's this new update. So I contacted Ramesh at J2 Store and said, hey, when do you think that J2 Store will be ready for Joomla 4? He said, well, he says, we're going to have, he's hoped to have a beta out at the end of October. He says, because they have 200 other plugins and things to test. So I was thinking like, oh, okay. Now, would it be great to have J2 Store ready? Oh, sure, I would love that. But really, a realistic expectation, I try to put myself in Ramesh's shoe. Can you imagine having that shopping cart extension that so many businesses are running on, making money every day and releasing that and having to work on the first try? I would take some time too. So, for those that are expecting that everything should be ready and everything should zoom along right away smoothly and everything should be there and it should just be a quick jump over from Joomla 3 because it has been released, we need to manage our expectations, because there's a lot of real people who have real responsibilities, and some of these companies too have other projects as well. Even though I say I'm make my living full time from Joomla, and I very much do, I do some narration, I do some consulting, I do some other things in my business that help me make money each month. So even for some companies, the products that they have for Joomla are not necessarily the main and only thing that they work on. The other thing, another expectation I think that we can manage for Joomla 4 is when everything really gets humming along, firing on all of its cylinders. I did some quick math, and I might be off by a couple of versions here, but I looked up all of the different versions that there were in the process along from Joomla 3. And in Joomla 3 versions, there were in Joomla 3, there were close to 80 different versions of Joomla 3 over the years. Now, when you think about that, no wonder everything's been flying along and just running tickety-boo with Joomla 3.9 and now 3.10. Why, when there's a new version, new release, just some little thing gets adjusted or something. And so much work has gone into that. And now here we are at Joomla 4.03, is it? And it's just starting. I'm really excited about Joomla 4. When I think about how great Joomla 3 is and for running and stable with the new things that are Joomla 4 and a lot of work that has gone into that, it's just going to take a little while. And as things get sorted out, if little things come up here, well, regardless of whether, someone didn't test or not a tester or whatever, it's going to be great. I'm really excited about it. A lot of people have put a lot of work into it, and yeah, sure, there's things for us to talk about. Where's Joomla's place in the world of things? Are we ever going to be a WordPress killer? Are we going to? What's this? What's the use? Or sure, that's all discussion that we have. But my expectation is that where we are right now with Joomla 4 is that it's great. It's a great platform. Sure, there and as we build on things or find things, or as we manage our expectations, just with the various with Joomla project as it is, as an open source community with people all around the world, different language, different cultures, different skills, different responsibilities. As we manage that, we've got an exciting beginning in Joomla 4, just as we were excited when Joomla 3 came out, and just as of course there were some things that need to be done. So for Joomla 4 managing our expectations, I think let's be happy. It's here, and things are going on, and it is what it is, and we are where we are, and we just continue to make the most of it and grow from that. So managing expectations for Joomla 4. The last thing that I thought that I would mention today is how we can, as I mentioned before, how we can help our clients or our users manage their expectations for Joomla 4. So as we know, Joomla 4 is not an upgrade in the sense that just like, we click the button and update from Joomla 3.9 to 3.10. It's a migration. And it is a migration, a different path than what we did from going from 1.7 to 2.5 or whatever the version was, because now we've got it so that, you don't have that meticulous having to copy your content over and actually copy and is being almost a migration. Is almost like a moving, right? So we've got that process, but of course, extensions need to be compatible and it needs to be a process. Some extensions are you update them in 3.10, and if they're in 3.10 they work. Others, once you get and then you go to 4, they work. Others, you get to 4 and you still need to bump them up with something else, and it's all going to get sorted out. So for our clients that are very active or involved in their own sites, we need to help them manage their expectations that, something new is here. I want the latest. We need to let them know that Joomla 3 is here and stable, and in the next while, there's some things to be switched over, and that their site is good in Joomla 3, and the exciting things of Joomla 4 will come soon enough for them. Now, for those of us that have clients who are not paying any attention to Joomla, or don't even know what Joomla is, just know that they have a website, we need to also let them know that some stuff is coming along the way. And I think what we can do is let them know about some of the new exciting developments and features of Joomla 4 and how that's going to be a plus for their sites and their business, their organization down the road. I went looking in Facebook for some really great advice that I read early on after Joomla 4 came out about how to deal with the expectations and how to help our clients and our users manage. And it's Laura Gordon said this in a discussion on Facebook, and I have it up on my screen here. And this is Laura's advice and her plan to deal with her many clients to help them have realistic expectations and understandings as she moves forward. She said, she says, I have emailed my clients this week, letting them know that between now and January, we need to have a talk, in quotes, have a talk, to review the site overall and what the cost will be for Joomla 4. Any client that the site is more than 2 years old, this could be a great opportunity for an updated look, quote unquote. So I would put the cost of the upgrade together with a design upgrade. Newer clients, I will also charge for the J4 upgrade, but it will be a project-based cost with a max hours. So if we stumble, we are both protected. The only reason why we'll have issues is if I need to switch the template or any extensions and find different options. I believe that over the next few months, this direction will be much clearer. For both sets of clients, I'll include some time to walk them through the new interface and make sure they're able to edit and have the same access and editing as they did with Joomla 3. I've moved them all over to Joomla 3.10, no problems at all. That is step one. I've been letting them know about J4 for a while by now, so no one is surprised, and they are putting aside a budget for us to do this work properly. Communication and honesty is key. I think that's an amazing example of how to help people manage with their expectations for Joomla 4. And really, it's a great model for helping your clients manage expectations as well. Just being that communication and honesty. And obviously, Laura has a plan too about how she's managing her business when she talks about planning to build them, what it's going to cost the time to do the update and the migration and other things that are going to be needed along the way, and just explaining them. It's good to have that. I like too that she is going to put everything down. About a year ago, I won a contract with a client to help them with a website, and they had a tech team in their organization and that gave very specific requirements for the project. And I worked very hard to get the proposal down and written because just to make sure that I understood their expectations, what they wanted. I tried to be very clear about my expectations. So for instance, one of the things was that they were going to supply the content and the images, which probably didn't work out that well. It's very hard to get from them, that problem. But get everything down in the proposal. And I was so glad that I did that as a way of managing the expectations and the responsibilities, because soon after that IT team I started doing the work, the staff in that situation started having ideas, and they were sort of it was very interesting how I discovered that organization made decisions by talking to everyone, let everyone have a say, and they started going off in directions that was totally outside of what the agreed proposal was. And so time and time again, I was able to say, that's not what was in the proposal. That's not what you asked me to do. And it really saved the day for me a number of times, because I was able to, instead of getting frustrated because what I expected they wanted me to do was not happening, through that communication, it really paved things over. Now, when I finished my work on that project, they let me know they were going to go in a new direction, and it didn't involve me. And I was relieved, because it was so difficult working within their decision structure, which I found out afterwards. But expectations had been managed in that change, because we had a proposal, we had things written down. the reason that I don't have anything to share on the screen today is because I hate the fiddliness of making PowerPoint presentations or screens or slides. I was going to show you a picture of my family. I couldn't even find that in time this morning just to share quickly. But one thing that I make myself struggle through because of the expectations that people have, and in order to manage them realistically, I struggle through making sure my proposals are together. In fact, when that client said that they were going in a new direction and it was without me, they had just paid their last month of maintenance for their management for their website, and they asked for a refund of it because it was not going to be used. And I realized I had nothing in my proposal about how to cancel our maintenance agreement. So I thought, oh, I need to manage that expectation as well and have something in place. So, my big takeaway from all of this today, and not only are we talking about these things for Joomla, but also is just for life. It's important for us to have a real firm idea and understand the difference between what we wish and what is realistically going to happen. And if we learn to manage our expectations for the Joomla project, for Joomla 4, for our clients, we're going to be a lot happier. Our life is going to have a lot less stress, and that is going to carry over into into the Joomla project, into Joomla 4, into the work we do with our clients. Because when we're not stressed, we are much more pleasant to deal with, and a lot more positive things come out, and it frees our mind to come up with new solutions and new ideas and to do things better. And I find that managing expectations gives me a lot more enjoyment out of Joomla, and constantly trying to manage expectations of life makes me happier in life. And so I would wish the same thing for you as we continue on this journey with Joomla 4. Whatever comes next, what is coming next, I think it's going to be great. It's going to be exciting. I'm excited about it, and glad to be on this journey with everyone. So thank you very much for your time today. Thanks for listening, and thanks Techjoomla for inviting me to take part.
Yep, thanks a lot, Tim. I think it was a pretty nice session. I mean, a little different topic, and I'm sure a lot of the examples that you gave, your own example of the other lady. I'm sure that's going to help people kind of set their own expectations, set their client expectations with how do they deal with what's Joomla 4, either an upgrade or how do they kind of plan their upgrades. And I think I think your own example about ensuring that you leave in good contract clauses for cancellation, that's also really useful. So I think a lot of great stuff coming out.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm learning as I go quite a bit in business. I don't have a business degree. This is running my own business is very different from there's carryover from what I used to do, but at each step along the way as I'm learning, just be kind to ourselves, and learn from our mistakes and pick things up and keep going and grow. And just, I mean, the same way if every version of Joomla gets better each step along the way, hopefully every version of ourselves get better each step along the way as we figure out sort out the bugs in our lives.
Yeah, I think that's some fantastic life advice as well. I mean, while we do our own upgrades, while we do our own Joomla business, I think we tend to ignore these small bits. So I think thanks a lot for reminding me and everybody else out here about those things. Cool. I think was really good, Tim.
All right. I just realized I never registered for Phil's session, so I'm going to have to quickly do that and get the link there. Maybe you could share it with me in chat here so I can click on it and watch now.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim. Thanks a lot. All right. So we have a 10-minute. We'll just take a 10-minute pause in between now. So Tim, feel free to stop your video, start watching Phil's session. We'll just take a 10-minute break, and then in about 10 minutes we'll be back with Phil's session. Uh, so Phil is going to be talking about time for Joomla. Just so that you know, just introducing the topic so that you know what you can start hearing in the next 10 minutes. All right, so I think people just stay on, and we should kind of be back with Phil in another 10 minutes. But between there's a few things from the Techjoomla side that I would just want to share some updates from our side. One of the things is, pretty happy to announce that in the next few weeks we are looking at also starting a small not a channel, but I mean a series of videos that's going to be like short videos, small videos about doing stuff in Joomla. So I already know the first few videos. We have things like how do you turn on gzip in Joomla. So a lot of newcomers especially struggle with these obvious things, which kind of give a performance improvement or SEO improvement. So we'll be starting a series on that very soon. So that's one quick announcement to make. The second announcement, of course, is Joomla 4. So of course the team has begun testing, porting everything to Joomla 4, and in the next few weeks you can expect to hear from us in terms of what would be the timelines, when would we planning to release Joomla 4 versions of our products. So so do subscribe to Techjoomla. Stay tuned for news and updates on that topic. And I think the other thing to talk about, I think, is this session itself. So I think, like I said in the beginning, I think the last session was really fantastic. So when we did the Joomla launch, I think we had some great speakers then. We had Brian Tiemann, we had Robert, we had Patrick, and then Alexandre, of course. And then I think a lot of the Google Summer of Code students, I think they had some nice things to share, and then Joe. So I think, what we felt is that I think it makes sense to kind of keep on doing this. It helps keep up the momentum, and with Joomla 4 kind of now out, a lot of these sessions would really help kind of spread awareness, spread knowledge about what can be expected of Joomla 4. For example, things like Tim talked about today, how to do expectation management around upgrades, one of the topics that he talked about. So we plan to do a session every month. So you can look forward to that. And of course, if you do miss any session, don't forget to watch the stream back on YouTube. So there we go. I think those were a quick few things from our side. And I think we will give all of us maybe another 5 minutes of a break before we let Phil start. Thank you. All right. So hello everybody. Thanks a lot for kind of being online in the break. So we'll start with the next session in a minute. So up next we have Phil Walton. Phil Phil. I'm happy to have Phil here. So he's the director of SoftForge. And an interesting fact about him is that he built his first computer at 15, and then he moved online. So Phil has been kind of creating sites, working on CMS systems. He's been involved in the Joomla project in a good capacity. For people who joined late, one interesting thing that Phil talked about is he was there in the room when they launched Joomla 4, and Phil did seem to feel that it felt like Houston launching a mission to Mars. So thanks a lot, Phil, for getting us Joomla 4. And so Phil also writes a lot about open source. He's kind of championing open source for over a decade. And in general, I think Phil, good friend, we've met him in the UK. So thanks a lot, Phil. Thanks for speaking in this Joomla Next event. And over to you, Phil. I'm just going to make you the host so you can. So you have slides, Phil, or just a video?
I've got some slides, PowerPoint. well, it's not PowerPoint. It's Google. But yeah, let me.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead. You can go ahead and share your video screen. Yeah, whichever.
Yes. And pick my screen. Share. So can you see my slides?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Excellent, because I can't. Okay, so thank you, Ashwin. The last time we met with Parth as well, it was a lovely sunny afternoon. It was Joomla London. And at that time, we were in a new place. We'd been at UCL for quite some years, and then we moved to a place on the South Bank. Of course, it wasn't long after that everything ground to a halt. And so, as you can see on the slides, we do it every third Tuesday of the month, and have done for, I think it's 13, 14 years.
Probably the longest running Joomla user group, I believe, if I'm not wrong.
Patrick will dispute. I think Patrick in Australia is a year or so more, but yes, definitely the best value. Patrick and I get on very well. It's almost daily that we chat. So, and we tease each other constantly. How we're going to cope through the Ashes series, I don't know, but we'll see. So it was a lovely time, and then of course everything's gone online. So I've been running Joomla London. I'm director of a coordinator of the marketing communications now, which I took on a little while ago. I've been on the CMS release team a long time. I was lead for a while, and then taken over by Sigrid, which is brilliant. She's really developed it and moved it on. And more people have tested. So interesting what you were saying, Tim, earlier in your session. It's one of those teams that it's really grown, and it's really friendly. Even when it's stressful, it's friendly. And it's very productive. So I'll come on to that a little later, but I really enjoy that team. I really enjoy the marketing communication. It's really weird. So Joomla has many, many different groups, and I've been in part of lots of them, and they've all got their own flavor. They've all got their own, it's not just the people, but they all work in different ways. Some are really laid back, some communicate every day, some have a meeting every couple of weeks, and that's the only time they talk. It's really interesting how you can be seeing the same people, but in a different setting. It's a very different way. I started off with the Google Summer of Code last year. We managed to win places. And then I passed that one on, and that's really, really gone well. I'm really pleased with how that's gone. And it's under Shivam's leadership, he's moved it on with the Summer of Code, which came out as well. We managed to get some places in that, and they were the students that you had at your last meeting. So I'm going to go through a few of these things. So time for Joomla. So we've already had a little bit of a campaign, and we'll have more. We're just starting to do some more videos on these about the specific aspects of Joomla. Joomla 4 is going to be a long campaign. Joomla 4, I don't know if people remember back in the days of 3, but 3 came out and there's a lot of criticism of it. And it took a couple of miners to actually really bed in. And I actually think Joomla 4 has been better. I think Joomla 4 has come out, it's got a lot of positives. I really like it. And I've been testing it. It feels weird for me because I've been testing it for so long. But there's been a big change from testing to using, and using it, I've found it a real joy. I've already got to that point where I prefer working on Joomla 4 sites than I do to Joomla 3. It's just faster. It's just so many little things that are really nice. And I've gone back to more core. I've actually used the opportunity to strip away, and I've found that some of the things that I'd moved away from and got other things going back to the core, I found that's improved so much. The media manager and the editor as well, just using it, the highlighter, I absolutely love that. It's really speeded things up. So Joomla 4, what we did was we did a campaign where we put Joomla, the number 4, and then we marked out some of the main areas. I mean, there was Joomla 4 API, which we'll come on to later, but we wanted to highlight with the launch not necessarily for developers, but for the people that will actually be building the sites and implementing and putting the code on, but also the clients, the people that Tim was talking to. We wanted to let them know what was coming. So Joomla for speed, Joomla for accessibility, Joomla for emails because of the email templates, which is something that I am really starting to use more for my sites. I've already built 2 sites, at least 2 sites in Joomla 4 from the start. And I've migrated about 4 client sites, the smaller ones, only 100 and something to go. But I will definitely be planning those out. So those that don't have any extensions are just core, I can do now. I can already do some with some extensions that have been changed. There are quite a few which I'm planning for the new year because those extension developers have really been good in that they've said this is when we will be ready for it, and they've explained their time scale, so that's really helpful. So I'm planning it out, but we've got the Joomla for SEO. Already, I'm getting such good Lighthouse scores out of the box. There's one thing that you've got to remember that's changed. In Joomla 3, we used to fill in the global SEO for your site, the main description for the meta tag. And that's not done in the new Joomla 4 because Lighthouse tells you you've forgotten it. And there are so many sites out there that just have the generic Joomla one. So that's been left out. So that takes your score down. As soon as you put it in, which you should do, your score goes way up. Joomla for design, because I just really like the way that it flows, and the whole, especially a lot of the accessibility has helped with the design. Design helps with the accessibility if it's done right. And we had a really good talk by Christiana, who did was one of the team that did the Cassiopeia template last night at Joomla London. And that really went through a lot of the design aspects. And I've been working on it a long time, but I learned so much just from that talk. Really interesting. The search, that's been improved, and it's something which I use quite a lot on quite a few sites, and I'm really pleased with the changes that have been made. The workflows, wow. I mean, workflows I'm just getting into, and there's so much I'm excited to use with workflows. It's going to help me in my own business, my own sites that I build for myself, but also some of my bigger clients are really going to love the workflows. And the security, there's been several extra layers put on, but I mean, people don't realize that under the hood, virtually all, about 95 to 98% of all of the MySQL queries, the SQL queries have been changed so that they're much more secure. So that's straight out of the box, it is more secure. And I think we're one of the only CMSs to have done that and refactored. Again, Joomla has always been, this one is the first to do this, the first to do that. We don't shout about it as much as I think we should. And when others come along, there's a big blowing of the trumpet, and then you go, well, actually, we've had that for 10 years. So the security is really enhanced, and I think that's really good. The idea between time for Joomla is to switch it the other way around. And there's going to be 3 things. This is the first one that we've released, and we're going to have another 2 where we're putting a word in front of the 4. And so time for Joomla is a way that we can give back. So what Joomla gives us, let's just go through those last things. It gives us employment. Tim, myself, a lot of people, Techjoomla, all the people involved, they get employment through Joomla. It gives us fun. I really enjoy building Joomla sites. I enjoy building my own sites and just expanding and sharing some of my own hobbies through my sites. Connections. Tim, I've chatted to Tim a few times. Ashwin, they come to the UK, and I've shared meals with Path in the past before at events. Jay and beyond, Joomla World Conferences, there's all those connections. Productivity. I find Joomla a very fast product to use, and Joomla 4 even more so. I think a lot of people, when they first get to that dashboard panel, we were discussing this last night, will think, whoa, what's all this about? You hardly use it. When it's there for you to set up, But once you set up, you suddenly find yourself using that side panel, using the article menu, and the connection is much closer. And I can build a lot faster in Joomla 4. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Hay fever. I can build a lot faster in Joomla 4 than I can build in Joomla 3. Already that muscle memory has changed, and I find it easier. Opportunities. I've had so many opportunities, not only with what I've done in Joomla, but because of Joomla, it's given me a platform to talk about other things. And I mean, I was very passionate about open source from a very early stage, way before I came into Joomla. But it's been an opportunity to continue that and to meet people and to share with charities, and to, charities have been quite a large sector that I've been involved with, and that's been really enjoyable. And also, I've got my own passions like rowing and some of my photography, and I use Joomla sites to help those charities, the rowing charity and everything, to spread theirs. Pride. I've got great pride in what we do. I mean, one of the teams that I've mentioned, the release team, when they find a bug and they fix it before it hits the world, it's a lot of pride in that. It's really nice. And some slip through. We don't get everything, but we do get some things. And I think that needs to be said, because often that's the silent part. There's the thousands of sites that weren't taken down. There's the thousands, tens of thousands of sites that didn't break because of the work that team does. And so there's a lot of pride involved in that. At time, I'm actually gaining time back. Joomla 4 is giving me time back because we are doing things in my team here at SoftForge, which is faster. We can turn things around quicker. So what can we give back to Joomla? That's time. We can give our time. And one of the things that I hear from a lot of people is I don't have time. My work is busy and all that. But actually, there are often times when we do have time, we just don't realize it. And so the time I'm really, with the time for Joomla idea, is those sorts of snippets of time which you waste, which you use on social media doing something that you really didn't need to do. So the concept is simple. It's designed to make the most use of those little bits of free time, which we all have in our everyday lives. That moment on the tram when you're bored, as a passenger in a car, waiting for an appointment, waiting for a download to finish, time to do time so small as a package that it gets wasted on reading someone else's complaint on social media, reading about some star's upset with another millionaire's comments, trivia that fritters away our time when we have time to kill. And there's always something in our day where we have a little bit of time like that, which actually, if we knew what we could spend it on, which would help Joomla, it could be really, really useful. So the idea grew, and we've started to produce a list of jobs to help focus those small packets of time that we all have. And I've put this on literally only this morning so we wrote the article over the weekend with Patrick, and we put out the on Docs, and I'll just open that up. We put a lot of the article on there, and the idea of doing it on the Docs is so that you can come back and add to it. So in Docs, that means that you can go in, you can set up an account, and you can edit that page and add your own ideas and areas that you feel it could grow on. And I'm going to go through these, but I would really love people to use that Docs page and to expand it. So plan time. Help to grow. Oh, sorry, actually, let me go back to the Docs one and run it through that. So let me run through the areas on this, and then I'll come through to that last bit. What we're really looking for is those small little things that you can do. And one of the first things we came up with was forums, both the Joomla forum and Joomla Stack Exchange. Now, I don't participate on the forums too much. I tend to do more on the Docs and in Glip. But I know a lot of people really enjoy the forums and the Stack Exchange, and I gained from those forums. I've only today I was fixing something, and I used both the forum and Stack Exchange, I realized, to find the answers. And, you know, it's really, really useful to find new stuff. Now, coming from Joomla 3 to Joomla 4, there's going to be a lot of learning, and there's going to be things that are broken, which we want to fix. So go into those forums. If you've got the knowledge, help to expand that knowledge by just sharing one forum post, by going in there and documenting it. And one of the things I'd ask people to do is, and I find this one of my pet hates, is when you go to a forum and someone's got a problem, and then someone in the forum says, contact me privately and I'll see what I can do. And you never hear the end of that forum post. It's like, well, what was it that you did? So if you come across a solution, please, actually, if you come across a solution, you could actually search forums for the problem and then paste that solution after, where someone's gone off and found their private solution, or the owner of a product has said, you know, message us and we'll log into your site and fix it. Afterwards, go back. It only takes a few minutes to say, this was what the problem was, and this was what the solution was. And that would really, really help. Because I today, it was JRequest was one of the things that has broken in compatibility, and it was actually deprecated a long, long time ago. But Joomla 4 has stopped it from working. And so really old plugins and stuff that use that, you need to know how to migrate to the new. And a lot of people have got the problem, the issue, but when they find the solution, they don't post what the solution is. So posting that solution, and it just takes a few minutes. So that's one of those things that I would ask, you know, if you've got a little bit of time, go in and have a look. There's also discussion areas. And again, helping people out in those. These are the social media bits where if you've got that few minutes while you're doing an appointment, go in and, you know, see if you can help, see if you can have that positive attitude and help someone else in both the Facebook group, the LinkedIn group, and the Reddit group, because people consume their answers in different ways. And that, you know, we all have our favorite areas to go. So I don't use Facebook much. I'm much more Instagram and YouTube. So, you know, everybody has their own niche. Writing documentation for Joomla. Now, the docs, which I've just shown you, that is, you know, the best place to put all the stuff for Joomla in a set out way. And it's so easy to do. And I think a lot of people are really fearful of writing in the docs, but you don't have to worry about it. So I'm hoping that my docs page is showing at the moment. If I quickly log in, this is where everything will fall apart. Let's log in. Yeah. So if you're writing, if there isn't a page, all you have to do in the docs is literally go to docs.joomla.org/ and then if there isn't a page, you can actually just type a title. And if it can't find it, it will allow you to create the page. And so you can come up with an idea or something that you think would help. Or if you find that there's something that's missing, first of all, search, try and find it, try and find it in the docs and in the search for the docs, which is up there, just up here. But if you can't find it, just start off the page. You don't have to have it all there in one go, and it can be a work in progress. You can keep coming back to it. So this took me less than 20 minutes to do. I just logged in. When you log in, so one of the first things to do is obviously get an account. And I think one of the stumbling blocks for accounts is you have to be verified within 24 hours of getting that confirmation email. Otherwise, it will lapse and it can lock you out of the system. So to do sign up when you've got a little bit of time to do that, and that will allow you to just dip in and change. And I'm often going through the docs and seeing something and going, that's changed. It's not like that anymore. What can you do? Well, once you're logged in, you've got the edit, just hit the edit and change that sentence. It's as simple as that. Just making that simple change and then hitting save. Preview it first to make sure that it's looking okay. And here's what the preview will look like. And then hitting save page and putting it back in, you've just fixed something. And it literally takes just a minute at the most. You can do it on your phone. It does work on the phone okay. And I found myself using that time to fix docs and Sometimes it's spelling, sometimes it's links that are broken, things have moved, but that's really helpful. And if you've come across it and it's a problem and you fixed it, by fixing it, you fixed it for all those other people that are going to find it. So you've saved a lot of people all the time that they can give back. So, the docs is, I think, one of the main things that we really need people to get behind. And so as you go through your journey with Joomla 4, check the documentation, see if those things that you've learned are there. And if they're not there, why not just add them? And then they will be translated by the translation team and they will help other people. And that brings me on to the next subject, which is translate Joomla. Joomla is, I think, the CMS with the most languages behind it. We have a huge community. Last night, Joomla London, we had 4 different continents in the 30 people that were there, and many different languages. And Christiana was doing her first ever talk in English, and she's a native German speaker. So language is a really important thing in Joomla, and being able to share things in different people's languages is really important. So there's a whole section here on translating. There was a Joomla magazine article which has been updated since I wrote this. And you can find it on this page, and that will explain how to get into the languages and how to start translating and using crowding. And I must admit, I was one of those that was with crowding and everything. I was like, oh, this is something new to learn. I don't really want to go here. I don't need to do it because I'm English is the base language for it all. But actually, in marketing, I do, because I've got to put all these translations in for the videos and stuff. And so once it was put up into crowding, one of the videos that we were doing, loads of people jumped on and started translating it and giving us the little files I could then put into the YouTube video, so that suddenly anyone in any other language could actually have the translation at the bottom, the captions at the bottom of the video in their language. And that's just brilliant. And it doesn't take long. And a video might be only 2 minutes. It might have 20 sentences. For someone in a different language, their native language, they can translate that very quickly. They can do that in crowding, get a crowding account, do that translation. Even if you're just doing a small video, it helps. It helps spread it into your own language. So it's a really worthwhile thing to do. Testing Joomla. Testing Joomla comes in many different ways. You don't have to be part of the CMS release team. Just your everyday experience is testing in Joomla. And, I've found a lot of bugs, not in sessions in the CMS release team, but in my everyday use. I'm sure Tim as well has come across things and thought, why does it work like that? Wouldn't it be better if it did that? Go to the issues platform, mark an issue. Someone might disagree. Someone might come back and go, well, the reason is it does it like that, issue closed. But someone else might go, well, actually, that's a really good point. It should do it like that. And so, using the issues platform and marking things down as issues, even if they're resolved and they're found to not be issues, it's a helpful process to go through. It's part of your own learning, but it may be an issue. And I've found loads of issues over the time. Issues don't necessarily have to be bugs. They can be things where wouldn't be better if. And for some, it's a matter of opinion. But some things are just kind of, oh yeah, why don't we think about that? At the moment, I'm loving in Joomla 4 using TinyMCE the highlights. If you highlight something, then a little section appears above, toolbar, which is very specific as to H2, H3, linking and all of that. I don't have to move my mouse far. And it's just speeding it up. Silly little things like that must have been well, why don't we do that? So, all these things can help. But then we actually have the CMS release team, which are people who join, and a week before a new release comes out, they get a preview of it. They will get a build package, which will be the release candidate, and they will then go and test it. And they don't just test it in vanilla, they will test it in complex sites. So I will take some client sites that I put behind HT Access. And a couple of clients that have said that they're happy to be part of this, but we hide it so it doesn't leak out. And then I'll update it. And these are complex sites with lots and lots of different extensions. And then I'll go around the site seeing if all those extensions work. And sometimes they don't. And sometimes something that's happened in the core of Joomla can affect the third-party extensions. One of them some years ago was source sets. I don't know if you remember, but some templates use source set. We did something in the core and that broke the source sets. So it is really important to do that testing. Another bug that came out some years ago, well, about a year and a half ago, was what looked like a really good idea, cleaning some code up. Well, we've got this thing in here, which is an integer. It could be Boolean. We don't need an integer to store this. It seems to always be 1 or 0, true or false. So let's just change it to a Boolean. Unfortunately, if it's a multi-language site, it wasn't 1 or 0. It was the language code of that language. So the people, we didn't have enough testing on that. That's why it's really important to have a lot of different people's experience. So multilingual sites, because if we'd done that on a multilingual site before it was released, we'd have seen that it would have actually caused an issue, and suddenly you lose the languages for your template, and that was a bad one that got through. So the more people with different sites and scenarios, the better. And testing doesn't take that long. It can take 15-20 minutes to set it all up and to start the whole process. And then over that week, we've got a spreadsheet that we can go through to mark different bits off. You can spend a few minutes here, a few minutes there. So that's more of a team thing, but it's a really, really worthwhile one, and it can be done in little bits. What I would say is it's better to have lots of people testing little bits and marking them off in the sheet. One person going through the whole lot, but not having the different sorts of sites to be able to test through. So if you've got multi-language, right to left language instead of left to right, all that sort of thing, that's helpful, and that's really good. Then we've got some interesting one here. Now we want to get the word about Joomla 4 out and how good it is. And there's loads and loads of blogs that have been written, which are really old. You will see the same old stuff. Drupal is for scale, Joomla sits in the middle, WordPress is for blogs. Whoa, that was written 15 years ago. And things have kind of moved on, and our security is very, very good now, has really, really improved over the years. There's a lot of things about Joomla where those articles, which a lot of people seem to be regurgitating and copying, just don't hold. So going in there and actually challenging some of those assumptions, saying, well, actually, I've got a big scalable site. I know Techjoomla, you've got some massive sites on Joomla. They scale. So, and I personally have some very large sites which have expanded over the years. And we've got no issues with speed at all. We're not even having to worry about it. With a bit of caching, they are 1.5 second loaders or under. So, and that's on Joomla 3. When we come to Joomla 4, I'm really looking forward, because I've already done a few tests between Joomla 3 and Joomla 4, same site, one upgraded, one not. One on the same server, and I've seen the speed increase. So I'm really, really, really pleased and excited. So going on and going into those blogs, perhaps pointing in the comments out that Joomla 4 is released, that it gives all these new things, all these new features. That will be one thing you could do to help get the word out. There's a lot of CMS awards. So one of them I put here is the CMS Critics Award. We have featured in it most years, but we seem to only feature in 1 or 2 categories. And actually, there's a lot more categories that really do fit Joomla. So I think with the release of Joomla 4, it would be really great if a lot of people got into that, nominated Joomla for that, we vote for it and try and get our name out there. It's really simple. It's a few minutes of your time, done. It's sitting in that waiting room, sitting on that train, you just bumped it a bit more. The trust radius. So That was an interesting one. So there was an article written, Trust Radius is a whole series of CMSs. And actually, I was messaged by someone the other day saying that this no longer applied, but it does, because we're not in the top rated ones. Although our position has moved up on Trust Radius since I posted this magazine article, so that already speaks volumes that it works when you do it. We're not in the top 5 here. And yet we've got, I mean, it opens out to even more. We're not there. And I think we should be there. We've got 76 ratings, I think, and a similar number of stars. We should be nudging into here. So I put the link into the Time for Joomla page on how you could go in there, make your points about Joomla, review it, and especially Joomla 4, obviously. And, you know, we hopefully will see ourselves nudging into those scores. And then that gets the word out, because when I started my look years and years ago, I did read some of these reviews. Back then it wasn't Joomla, it was Mambo. I was building my own CMS. I was tired of building my own CMS. It was rubbish. And so I thought, you know, someone's got to have done this. You know, it was PHP Nuke and a couple of bulletin boards. And I found this thing called Mambo. And it's like, well, this looks really good. And then quickly after that, Joomla. So they do work. They do work in getting the spreading in the news and letting people know about it. And if you find any other awards or any other blogs and guides that you think that we should feature in and we're not, go in, edit this page, put them in here, put the links, and let other people start adding their time into promoting Joomla in that way. We've got other ways. I mean, one of the other things you can do is write your own blogs. Write blogs about your experience with Joomla, push those out. And when you do that, come into Glip, where a lot of the community are, and say, I've just written this blog. You know, I'd be really pleased if people would comment. Put your blog into this, and then people can find it easily and comment. So these are all things that we could do to help get the word out. Participate in events. Now, I run a user group, Patrick runs a user group. I know, Tim, you've appeared in user groups. Lots of user groups have shrunk over the years and disappeared. I think Joomla 4 release is a good time to try and reinvigorate some of those, to share. And also, times have changed. You know, we get a bigger audience now at Joomla London because we're virtual. And so we can have Tim and we can have other people coming in. We've always had international speakers. The big change for us is having an international audience coming to those meetings because we do everything online. So I think participating in user groups is something you could do. You'll learn a lot more about Joomla. I learn every single Joomla London. I've been doing it 13 to 14 times, 12 sessions. So yeah, we're into several hundreds, many hundreds of sessions, and I'm still learning every time. So user groups, and share with different user groups. I like, if I can, getting into Patrick's one. I've been to the Chicago one. I've been to a few others, and you know, I always learn new things. And also user groups for other things. So there's like the PHP user group. There's a London one. I go to that sometimes, and other topics, JavaScript and stuff like that, to expand, to learn, which you can then bring back to Joomla. And again, it's half an hour. It's not long. You can dip in, you can dip out. Joomla events, I'm hoping that with the pandemic disappearing slowly, that we'll be able to get back to meeting up and having some real meetings. But also a hybrid where some of us meet locally and we have a video conference for other people to come into it. And these are events that we could help contribute to, write a talk for, all that sort of thing. And it doesn't take a long amount of time. You don't have to be in a Joomla team for that. You can just do the work and then submit it, and look for the events on the events page, which we've linked to here. go and do a talk, a half-hour talk, even a lot of talks, a lot of sessions, they like to hear about people's experiences. So your experiences is going to be interesting to other people. You'll have come across solutions that other people are looking to find. So just joining those little sessions and giving a bit of time back to the community through those would be really, really helpful. I put in here, this is a far from exhaustive list, and there's the volunteer engagement team. You can contact Patrick through that and see other ways that you can be involved. But all these things that I've mentioned, you don't have to be a part of a team. You don't have to necessarily put aside large amounts of time. And some of them literally are just a few minutes. So I would really hope that people would take this on board and put some more time into that. So this is the list of jobs. Please help it grow. I've also put here, help grow a list of regional ideas. So there might be things that actually affect different regions. And so please expand that list out for regional lists if there are things that are affecting particular regions that they need help with. You know, we forget sometimes in Europe that we have really good connectivity, but other parts of the world don't. And so maybe there needs to be ways to help other parts of the world with their connectivity. One group I came across recently, they were having trouble sourcing some extensions in their language. And so I was able to help point them in the right direction there. Joining online jugs and all that we've also mentioned, but growing your own knowledge I've put here. Going out and finding how to do things and then sharing that back with the community. So some of those things are things like when progressive web apps first came out. You know, one of the guys at Joomla London said, Phil, what's this all about? So I looked into it and then I built a progressive web app, which I used in Joomla. And I then shared that knowledge on the jugs. And so other people then did more progressive web apps themselves. New technologies that come along. Some of them take off and some of them don't. But it's still good to share that knowledge and for you to share that knowledge back. So what's in it for me? You know, why should I do this? Well, it's what Joomla gives us. You know, back to that first bit, employment, fun, connections, productivity, opportunities, knowledge, pride, and time. If you do this, if you expand Joomla and help Joomla to grow, then these are the things that we're going to get back. You know, it's going to help me with my employment if Joomla expands and grows and continues to be as successful as it is. Then, you know, it's going to carry on the employment of myself and staff. I take on apprenticeships, and so spreading the knowledge like that. It's fun. I enjoy it. You know, last night we had a session from one of the Google Summer of Code. Oh, actually, no, it was a Summer of Code student, not a Google Summer of Code student. And that was absolutely brilliant. And it was all about a new product that we're a new thing that's going to be coming out, hopefully in Joomla 4.1, which is to do with scheduling. And so that was a really fun talk and a really Tushar, the student, it stunned us all because he's literally only taken PHP up about 3-4 months ago since he started the project, and yet he's contributing something that will go into the core already. So you know that was I really enjoyed going through that. I enjoy playing with those sorts of things. And so people giving that sort of thing back to the community, you know, you could be just giving a little bit through the documentation or whatever that will help someone like that. You're adding to it. So to end on, I just want to thank you for your time and to ask people, you know, if they've got any questions, if they get stuck with anything, trying to do the documentation, all that. You can reach out to me. I'm often in GLIP. You can message me, phil@softforge.co.uk, or you can contact me through my community address, which is all over, and on the Joomla London website. I'm more than happy to help people give a bit of time so they can give their time back. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks a lot, Phil. I think everybody had some amazing takeoffs from that of how they can get involved, contribute, and just know in general what's going on in Joomla 4. So I think the documentation intro and everything was really useful. Thanks for bringing that to all the audience.
One thing that just struck me before I came on to do the talk, and Tim was talking about extensions being ready. One of the plugins that I use that's in my simpler sites, I switched on, it broke my site. And I then reached down on Glip, and within 20 minutes, I'd fixed it. Now, that extension developer hasn't fixed it, and they haven't actually updated it for a year or so. And it might be that they don't, as Tim was saying earlier in his talk. Some of them are single developers. They may have moved on. But it only took me 20 minutes to fix it. And that was with the help of other people. A little bit of an ad hoc fix. You know, now I've got that code, I can give it out to others. I could package it up and put it on the extensions directory. And then we've got a J4 version for it. So it doesn't have to be huge amounts of time. Someone else put a lot of time into building that package. And all I've done is had to fix 7 lines, but now it's usable for Joomla 4. Very good use of time, I think.
Absolutely. That's, I think, those plus ones, and I think people contributing small bits of the time. That's what really, I mean, it's like drops making the ocean. So obviously, I think it'll be great. I mean, people listening, all of you, if you can just a few minutes, sometime every day, I think I'm sure that's going to go a long way in making the documentation and Joomla itself much better than what it's already is. So cool. I think it was a great session, Phil. Thanks a lot for taking us through it, and thank you, Tim, as well. So it was a little early for you, Tim. A little sorry about that, but I think both of the sessions were fantastic. I think we've had some amazing takeaways. Any questions we are seeing, Amay, Subhanshu, coming up on YouTube that we need to take up here? Okay, I guess that means you don't seem to have any. Cool. Yeah, so Ranju just confirmed there's no questions. So all right. Cool. So I think then I think we can conclude. I mean, we'll just conclude again with quick thanks. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Phil, for joining us, and to everybody else, we look forward to seeing you next month. I think in a few weeks we should be able to announce the dates of the next event and the speakers. So stay tuned, and thanks a lot from all of us at Techjoomla. Thank you, everybody. Good day, good morning, good evening, based on where you are. Thank you again.